President Cyril Ramaphosa has added 2 ministries to the executive and announced 32 ministers last night. There's an additional 2 ministries to what was previously labelled a bloated cabinet. The cabinet is inclusive of all parties who are signatories to the Government of National Unity. Let's get some reaction from the organisation opposing tax abuse CEO Wayne Duvenage. Wayne, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on a Daytime Update. We just pulled out of that media briefing talking about the water systems upgrade and the maintenance projects that are going on right now in Gauteng. Maybe let's start there, because water is a big problem and becoming an increasingly big problem as well, apart from the maintenance updates that have been doing. What do you make of the new water and sanitation transport appointment, the new water and sanitation minister being Phemi Majorendina?
Yeah, look, the jury's out. We need to unpack and take a good look at past performance and that. But we were quite astounded or sad to see Newzroom Afrika leave, because he's been doing a great job in the Department of Water and Sanitation, trying to undo the mess that his predecessors had got this department into. And we saw a minister that was going a long way down the line in rectifying some of those challenges, working with civil society, him and his DG, Sean Phillips. So we were quite surprised to see him being moved out of that role, because you need continuity, especially when you're getting back on track in certain areas, and he was certainly doing that. So that is a bit of a worry for us.
And your reaction, OUTA has been very vocal when it comes to the size of cabinet as well, and trying to just kind of streamline it as well. What's your reaction that wasn't the case at all? In fact, it was the opposite.
Yeah, it was the opposite. So we are a bit concerned about that, because it was bloated, as we said before this. And now we see this as a situation to try and manufacture roles for pals, quite frankly. I put that in inverted commas. So, for instance, let's just take one area, Gwede Mantashe, in minerals and energy. It stood to good reason that energy would transfer over to the electricity minister. And we've seen too many players in energy in the past, even in DMRE, in the Department of Public Enterprises as well. So here you have Gwede Mantashe retaining minerals and now petroleum, where he's been controlling this space before, but he hasn't performed well at all. We've seen a gross lack of transparency in that place, the whole administrative system, the SAMRAD system, the cadastral system, which is required for transparency and keeping out corruption. He has on many occasions over a number of years said they will fix this. He's done nothing about that, quite frankly. Fingered in the Zondo report, there are too many issues, too much smoke around Gwede Mantashe for him to still be handling that position, quite frankly. A similar one in Bladen Zamande's area, higher education, now to go and split it out and keep him appeased, and probably the SA Communist Party appeased with him having a cabinet appointment of science and innovation and technology. But he created so much mess in the NSFAS, in the higher education space. He should never have been allowed to hold on to any ministerial position, quite frankly. Those two portfolios could have been kept together, and we could have had a competent minister that needed to deal with the maladministration and corruption that has beset higher education over the last number of years.
When you also speak about continuity as well being quite important here, and when we look at a minister that you were also commending earlier in this interview, Minister Newzroom Afrika, who's now moved from water and sanitation to police being a very crucial ministry as well. Do you think that was the right move, considering how he's done at water and sanitation?
Possibly, we need to fix police, and he does appear to be a minister of action, somebody who understands the need for high levels of competence and leadership, as opposed to just throwing people at the problem, which is what our past ministers have been doing. So, if he has proven his worth in water and sanitation, maybe this is the right place to put him if we're going to fix a very broken department and deal with the crime situation in this country.
Yeah, and when there was a bit of reshuffling that we saw going on there, and also obviously on our screens right now, we're seeing the new cabinet ministers as well. Also considering that people like Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, who was the Minister of Health, is going back to that ministry as well. Does that bode well when we talk about continuity, even though he had left that ministry and was with Home Affairs for a bit?
Yeah, look, again, the jury is out. Well, health has been a challenge for many years now. It hasn't, under his previous watch, been really attended to. It's had a couple of ministers since then, and hopefully there's some learning. But we really need to fix the Department of Health. We need to get our clinics and hospitals and the whole issue around NHI, which is becoming a matter that still needs to be resolved, attended to. So hopefully he can do that. We need Home Affairs to become far more reliant on digital transformation as well, so that we can integrate Home Affairs with so many other departments, which has not been the case, and it's been problematic. Hopefully we're going to see some change there.
And, as you're speaking of Home Affairs, we're talking about DA ministries as well. The ones that they did get from agriculture to basic education, Home Affairs, and the rest. What do you make of those ministries that were appointed to DA members and leaders?
Well, they are ministries where I think there's work to be done in every one of them. So the jury is going to be out again as well on them to see, well, now let's see how you do perform in those areas. But I think the biggest concern we've got is the economic levers in those departments, such as transport, the Department of Trade and Industry, are critical, and none of those have been left open, or the ANC has retained their control in those areas, and they're very important to fix, especially in transport. We hope Barbara Creasy listens to civil society. We've got a lot to offer, a lot to give input on. The whole road accident fund has collapsed. Quite frankly, no accountability against Collins Letsoala. The driver's license matter, R2 matter. It's been a mess, quite frankly, the whole e-toll decision on how long it took to fix that. So we hope Barbara Creasy does engage with civil society, because we've got a lot to assist her with when it comes to fixing that department.
Wayne, were there any unexpected announcements from this announcement? Were there any surprises from you?
Yeah, just that, as I said, those two, and Nzimande and Mantashe still being retained as ministers is a real surprise. I mean, we're not too surprised about small business. We've seen Sindisiwe Chikungu, who hasn't really performed in transport, even as a deputy, being given a smaller portfolio. So not necessarily. I think we expected new ministers coming in with this whole national unity situation, and that's going to be good to see how now it performs. What we are asking for is that there has been a big call to work with civil society. There's been a big call for transparency and accountability, and yet it's been the biggest problem over a number of years. And we really hope that the new ministers are going to ensure that we don't have to fight for information that is rightfully available to the public, or should be, that it is more transparent, the information is put onto websites, and that we don't have to go to court to get certain information, because it's from the information we get on procurement irregularities where you can start holding people to account. And so I don't think on the whole, Masa, there's too much in these appointments to be perturbed about. What we now need to see is performance, and the next 100 days are going to be crucial in seeing that.
Well, clearly some more excited than others, some who obviously made the cut. One can't help but think about a Patriotic Alliance leader, Gayton McKenzie, who's now going to be the Minister of Sports, Arts and Recreation. If his social media is anything to go by, he's quite the happy chappy.
Yeah, I think he was angling for at least one post. He's got his post. And again, we want to see now how he performs. We've seen a couple of municipalities, or the Beaufort West one, where his party took over the management of that. It got the worst rating in the Western Cape from an Auditor General's point of view. It has been badly managed. So, seeing whether the Patriotic Alliance can actually perform properly is going to be, the proof's going to be in the pudding with the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture.
Well, Wayne, the next 100 days are going to be very, very interesting and a true test. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us and spending time with us. That is Wayne Duvenage from OUTA, who